All right, so let's start the webinar. Great. So, hello everyone. Good morning, afternoon, and evening for everyone who is attending this webinar today. Welcome to the Salesforce Digital Transformation webinar series. This is one of the 6 insightful webinars that we would be doing in the next couple of months, focusing on Salesforce digital transformation and more importantly, the key component, which is data. We are going to talk about how data is perceived by our enterprise customers a decade ago and what's the expectation they have with data in today's ecosystem. This digital transformation of Salesforce is incomplete without mentioning an important product, which is the big object. So to start with, the key takeaways from this webinar would be we're going to talk about Salesforce digital transformation, how the journey that happened 2 decades back, and what is it Salesforce has for a digital transformation strategy. We're going to talk about few use cases, say real life use cases in terms of how customers or how they manage the data. We're also going to talk about how data integration is a key component in handling and managing and giving insightful information on data. And then we're also going to throw more lights on what is cold storage and what is warm storage, what are the benefits and how it is which kind of storage benefits to the customers. And there are a few recommendations on how to use and manage this data. So this is the key learnings that you're going to take it from this webinar. So before we get started, few housekeeping activities. If you have any questions, please to post in the chat and we'll try to answer most of the questions at the end of the session. This webinar, we kept it very short and sweet, wherein we'll be spending around 20 minutes on this topic, and then we'll leave the rest of the time for some Q&A. So just a quick introduction. My name is Harish Kumar. I head the product division from data archiver perspective. And with me today, I have head of sales, Mr. Rakesh Rao. Hey, Rakesh, good morning.
Thanks, Harish. Good morning to you. Good morning, everyone, from wherever you are joining. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So thanks for joining this webinar. So I hope this will be an insightful webinar for you.
Thanks, Rakesh. So let's get started. So as I first mentioned, we're going to, this is one of the first series that we are starting, and then it is all about the digital transformation, a role that Salesforce has played in the last 2 decades, starting from how Salesforce started a few years back, and then how it has been transformed into a next level digital transformation ecosystem for many enterprise customers. So let's say when we talk about digital transformation, Salesforce has been the leader in the market. They brought the cloud digital transformation, which is a big innovation. And software as a service model was actually introduced by Salesforce. They paved the way for a wider digital transformation across business. And with this model of digital transformation, they're able to reach out to smaller and mid-level enterprises. If you talk about smaller and mid-level enterprises, when they wanted to adopt digital transformation, the cost of the software and solution was always a challenge. And with software as a service model, they are able to use it and able to get a wider response for the digital transformation. So Salesforce today is a global leader in the CRM space, and it has surpassed all of its competitors just because of its early cloud adoption, and secondly on the focus on customer success which they have it, and that made them a valuable company today. Salesforce is undoubtedly the best technology that caters to the current market demand of enterprises. Now, since CRM is a popular product of Salesforce, enterprise customers always start with CRM implementation as a first step towards Salesforce adoption. And we have been working with customers, last few decades. And what we work with the customers always at the initial stage was CRM implementation. Now, since I have Rakesh with me, who's been working on the Salesforce on the sales side, Rakesh, I would love to know your experiences in terms of what was the digital transformation that you were looking with Salesforce 2 decades back when Salesforce was newly there, and then what you see in today ecosystem of the enterprise solution. So I would love to hear from you, and if you can just throw on what is your experiences with these customers, that would be great. Over to you, Rakesh.
Yeah. Thanks, Harish. That was a great start. So what I'm trying to give you here is that, so how Salesforce implementation, when initially when the Salesforce was at an early stage, and what is it right now. So having this comparison in terms of a couple of use cases, I would like to run through so that you understand. So what is the how it was and how it is right now. So let me go to a specific use case. So this is one of the leading financial enterprises. So they have they have a couple of portfolio of business. One into private banking, the other one is into wealth management. Okay, so and they are present across the globe. So when I say across the globe, they are present in US, they are present in Euro zone, they are also present in Middle East and other regions. So because they are present in across the globe, so they have different solutions and different technologies which is implemented because of the maybe the zone or what or the requirement of the customer to the specific zone. So all those things. So now let's take an example. So they have implemented SAP for their wealth management. They also have ERP for managing their payments and other activities. They also have third-party apps to manage their codes and their financial related information. So and what I'm trying to say is that, so when we approach them and to bring this Salesforce, so Salesforce I'm talking about is which is at a nascent stage, and they are also taking a baby steps into this a huge market. So which is, I'm talking about the CRM market. Okay, so when Salesforce is coming into this, so when we implemented CRM, so particularly for the personal banking, so they had they were all working in silos in terms of the Salesforce, the other technology platforms which they were using, and then these are all not connected. So when it is not connected, so they were not getting the actual value which they were supposed to get by implementing a system. So and it will not be possible, because so each of these product or technology solution comes with their own USP. And so any company which wants, so there is no one solution which is fitting for all the requirement. So whether it is a different geographies or whether it is a particular use case. So this is one of the use case which I'm talking about. And the next one is this is for a top resto bar in the US. So they have 500 plus a chain of restaurants across the US, and they also have a similar situation, because they have multiple technology platforms which they are using to manage their business. So let's talk about PeopleSoft to manage their accounting and finance related information. They have a separate technology platform implemented to manage their franchisee stores and other legal entities. So they have some solution which is implemented to manage the documents. So these are all different silos. So I'm talking about a few things here. So but the situation is much more complex in the real life scenario. So, and when we approached to implement Salesforce as a CRM only solution, so when I say CRM only solution, because the Salesforce is not just a CRM right now, but back then it was only CRM solution which is to manage their customer information. So and again the situation is similar. So they have a lot of silos, they have a lot of technologies which is implemented, and no technology is talking to each other. There is a lot of data, and it looks like a chaos, because the real value of all this data which is there, so is not going to the business. So that is where the challenge is. So now, having said all these things, so the ester years, and then fast forwarding it to today, so the challenge is similar. So if you ask me what is the difference, so the challenge is not yet addressed, and it is the same. So because there was a lot of silos and there was no integration of data, so currently also the situation is the same. So if data is in different silos, the ultimate goal of digital transformation is not met. So what Salesforce is trying to address through their different acquisition and managing, so they are helping the customer to achieve digital transformation. I would leave the floor to Harish to help you understand how Salesforce is helping to achieve this digital transformation. So over to Harish.
Thank you, Rakesh, and I would half agree on this because there has been a lot of transformation that has happened from the Salesforce perspective, and then when we talk about integration, it is an area where there are a lot of innovation that is continuously happening, and with a lot of complex. Yeah, also agree that today also there are enterprises which have enormous data which is spread across systems. They have legacy systems, and when we talk about integration, it is always a place where it has to improvise, right? And this integration is one of the key areas which Salesforce is continuously improvising and innovating. If you say today the acquisition of MuleSoft is one of such initiatives done by Salesforce. And what is the real reason behind it is to bring the data together, right? Also, the recent acquisition of Evergage, it is more like a customer data per platform. And the entire reason about doing it is how Salesforce thinks customer 360 is so important for business, how they can bring that value of the customer to the business so that they can make more concise and better decisions, better decision. And that's what it is. And Salesforce is transforming and innovating day by day. And if you ask me, they have this APIs that helps customers to build those kind of integrations with their legacy system, their financial system, their internal systems. All of this can be brought to Salesforce. In addition to that, they have various app exchange ecosystem that they built on top of it. So they have, NetSuite, Jitterbit, and multiple integration suites that is available that help customer to choose and make a concrete decision. Hey, how they can use this kind of tool to get all this data into this ecosystem where they can now do a lot of analysis on top of it. So that's what Salesforce has done in this entire and then again continuously improvising on it. Now let's come to the next level. Salesforce started with the CRM adoption, and today it is all about integration with various systems across cloud, across legacy systems, and how Salesforce had transformed from a CRM enterprise to a solution that can be inbuilt with any of the enterprise today. So a lot of customers have been using these integrations wherein they're able to get this data into the Salesforce ecosystem and is helping them to build customized solutions on this data to get more business insights and able to do better business with this information. These integrations have really paved the way for getting a 360-degree view of the customers, and and the business is able to understand the customers in a much better way and able to provide exclusive services. Now, the next challenge that they face is today the data is growing in an alarming rate over the period, and that challenges that we're talking about is exceeding the data limits, increase in the data storage cost, some performance challenges, and various other security and scalable issues. So this will come because we're talking about integrating data and bringing to a platform where the customer want to see it. And today, with the advent of mobile and social media technology, the data is just increasing day by day, and business has to keep up with this challenging of data volume. Right now, the question is, since now the data volume is increasing, now what is that the business need to do? Now the question is, do you think archiving is an option? Yes, definitely. That's the option that you need to do. But now the question with our next level is, now what is the next archiving option? Is it a cold storage or warm storage? Now that's where we're going to address the question now, right? So when we talk about, cold storage, that's a standard business use case everybody comes with. Hey, if we are not using the data for last 10 years, why don't we just dump it to a storage, and then we don't have to worry about it. And that's the model where most of the customers use it and have this data kept in the gold archive storage. It has its own challenges as well. The data that is archived just goes to internet, and this information not readily available when needed. Additional effort is required to retrieve this information during compliance reviews. Also, this inactive data is not available for any analytics, right? These are the constraints which business is willing to take, understanding the challenges that come with it of the data growth and the performance. So this is something which we're talking about cold storage. Now if you go to the next level, business would love if this data can be easily available as and when required without shelling much on the data storage cost, and also if it is not impacting their current application. Now this help them to have a better governance on this data, seamless accessibility is there to this data. They're able to do more analytics on this data, and business is able to really get a value out of it. So this is what customers would love to have if it is really kept in kind of storage which is easily available. So any better business decision can happen with this data, and with this competitive world today, they need this data. It is any data that is kept into cold is really not going to bring any value add. Data is the new oil, and data has to be really used to benefit the customer today. And that's what when we talk about recommendations, we say that when we talk about archiving, we urge business to have this checkpoint sorted. Any archiving solution which can cater to 80 to 90% of this checklist would be the best option that they would help in their archiving strategy. So this is the adoption archiving strategy. They need to look into it. Number one, easy access to data. It makes sure that the data is easily available to you. Number two, the data is going to increase. So now, does this storage support massive data volume? That has to be really considered. Number three, is it cost effective? Is the storage really cost effective than they are really dealing it today? Need to consider. Number four, does it cater to various retention policy which they wanted to cater to in terms of business requirement that they have? And finally, ensure that it is complied with the industry regulations. So once all this is met, that's where the archiving is going to play a key role. Now, Salesforce has bought this big object, and big object is the revolutionary product that Salesforce has brought, considering all these business challenges that customers are facing today with the data. They know that data is increasing, data is just going to be massive, and they don't want to just discard this data. They want to have this data available. And our big object is one of the solution which is scalable, which is cost effective, and this is specifically designed to handle the historical information of data. So big object plays a key role in today's digital transformation of Salesforce, and that's what we're talking about here. And now data archiver. Now how data archiver fits in the solution is, one, data archiver comes just because big object is a big data system and Salesforce is a relational database system. To bridge this gap, this data archiver solution exactly fits to the bill. And the way the data archiver is designed, it is a native solution which is available, which actually integrates with big object. With data archiver, you actually can save 85% storage cost because you're going to use big object in more live way. uh, just because you're going to archive those data which you not require initially, this is actually going to help you improve your CRM performance, your application performance, and certain things as a business that you do on the Salesforce. And as a data retention and governance, there are a lot of options that you can set it up with data archiver, which we are giving to the customer in a seamless way that they can easily set up as per the requirement. And more importantly, it's a faster deployment. We talk about easy deployment of archiving solution using this data archiver as a product. And so going to the next level, what we're going to talk about is the next series that we're going to talk is all about how data archiver is going to have this governance taking into a picture, right? So the next section, we're not only to talk about data governance, but we would be showcasing various governance use cases that we built for our enterprise customers. We are going to cover real scenarios of data governance, where how the customers had configured using this platform for their governance requirement. Please do keep a watch for this session in March, because this is going to be quite interesting, and I want you to subscribe to this session because we're going to talk more deep insights of how data archiver is positioned, how archiving strategy of a customer is taken care, how seamless setup is, how seamless customer is able to move the data back and forth, able to archive it and able to restore it or view this data as and when the customer's compliance is required. And this is what customer want today. If they are going into the real system and they want to have a just quick review or search their archive data, the data archiver does that. It's all does through the same Salesforce ecosystem of the customer, and that's the key. And we want to make sure that we are able to give this to the customer, able to understand this thing. So this next episode, or what we're going to do in March, is more about getting more deeper insights into this product, able to tell how the solution has helped a lot of other customers implement it today. So all right, so that's what we have for in today. Now I'll be open the floor for any questions or queries that you have. Thank you. So if you have any okay, I can see one question. Is big object a third party application? I would love to take this. If you say big object is not a third party application from Salesforce, it is an ecosystem within the Salesforce. It built by Salesforce, and it is available for any enterprise and unlimited customer, and they can really integrate with their existing Salesforce. Uh, the next question that I see here is, does big object support analytics? It's a good question. Yes, it does support Einstein Analytics. Einstein Analytics is something that a beautiful solution built by Salesforce, and with integration of big object, it can provide valuable insights on this archive data. Yeah. One other question that I can see here is, can we pull the archive records back to the primary storage? It's a very good question. Yes, it truly does. The ability of the solution is to make sure that how the data not only gets archived, but able to bring it back as and when required. It keeps all those information, intact. The integrity is also maintained there. How to access big object in Salesforce? One of the question that I see is, accessing big object. Salesforce give, one SKU. You can access big object either by having uh, a big object which is readily available. You just need to create a big object SKU, the big object object, and it comes with underscore b, and then that's how you can query on the big object and move data from your existing object to the big object. And we're going to discuss more on the next session, where we're going to talk about this big object, how the big object is created backend, and how you can query this data and able to view that. How about files? Yeah, when we're talking about data here, we are more predominantly talking about Salesforce database and related information. Files is something which currently the big object doesn't support. It has to be done in a different way, and we have a similar product which helps you to archive the files separately. But if you ask me, with the context of big object, big object doesn't support the files as of today. Yeah, there's one more question which talks about data integrity. Yes, the key thing about the solution is data integrity. The relationships and those things are even maintained when you are archiving it. So when you're bringing back the data, it pulls back all the relationships and all those information back to the Salesforce system. Any more questions? Great. So thank you so much. We'll be more than happy to take our session to the next level, because the further session that we are going to have is more about understanding how data archive is transforming business in various aspects. Starting with governance, we're going to talk about analytics. In the next couple of things, we're going to talk specific domain specific business use case that we're going to have in the various sessions that is going to follow up. So we'll be keeping you posted. Please make sure that you're part of the session. And thank you so much.